Marie, thanks for letting me know. No sound. I'm gonna rewind and we're gonna start over from the beginning. So hopefully everyone can hear me now. I think I did have the mic muted still, or I clicked a button to mute it. There's always something with these. Anyway, hello everyone. Hopefully it's a bit warmer wherever you are because it's a bit chilly here on the East Coast. We had some snow days with the kids earlier this week and some late starts, which they enjoyed, but it's a bit cold if you ask me. Hopefully you can hear me okay now. If there's any other tech difficulties or if you have any comments or questions as we go on, please just hit me up in the comments and I'll be happy to catch it and answer them. And with that, Happy New Year. If you're just tuning in because you saw us pop up on your feed, I'm primarily here to talk about sort of our announcement and newsletter that went out today, announcing our crowdfunding lineup for this year, 2025. This is something we've never done before. We've never sort of announced all the games we predict coming to crowdfunding for the entire year, sort of at the start of the year, but we did a lot of work last year to sort of get our pipeline in the works and these projects further along. So if you didn't see that newsletter, that's what I'm primarily here to talk about. And I'll sort of go through things in order as best I can. And then we'll have a chance to answer any questions or talk about some other things before we close out. But first and foremost, I'm sort of going to take it in order because I'm very confident that we're going to hit the sort of dates and months we laid out in this post. We wouldn't have sent out the newsletter if we didn't think we could meet those expectations. So first, we're going to start off with StarDriven Gateway, which is going to come to Kickstarter February 11th. So it's an old prototype box cover that I have. And you can go to our YouTube channel and watch some trailers and how to play stuff. If you've been following along with us, you know that we did start a GameFound campaign for that game last year. And it funded, but for a lot of reasons, we decided to cancel. The big reason being that, in my opinion, we didn't package everything the game had to offer correctly and did a poor job of showing that value off, sort of on the page in our sell sheet. So I'd like to talk a little bit about the game. The game is effectively a starship simulator, an engine builder, where you have your own unique faction with asymmetrical powers. You're going to have your own tableau in front of you where you're going to be building up your crew, rolling dice, and activating certain stations. So despite sort of how it may look on the table or in some of our screenshots, this is not your father's 4X game. This is what we're calling a starship simulator because everything in front of your tableau is what controls a singular ship sort of out on the map. So it's much more about adventure, exploration. You'll be building up your crew and sort of then breaking that engine down by sending those crew on away missions to complete missions and get objectives. And one of the major things we've been working on in the past few months is focusing our offering for this upcoming crowdfunding campaign and being more competitive with our pricing. So we're going to have our base competitive game, which has a lot of different episodes with different scoring. But you can take those same rules, and what Todd and I, the designer, have been working on the past few months is including at PAX Unplugged, if anyone was there. We were showing that off. Actually, hold on a second. I have some pictures. Some pictures we can go through. One of the things we were testing at PAX Unplugged, or Todd was testing, I should say, was not only letting people play the game, but also focusing on the cooperative elements of the game. So we're going to have a separate cooperative expansion for the game, for the cooperative game, for those interested in it. And instead of before, one of the big mistakes I think we made is we didn't have a gameplay all-in option for people who want all the gameplay but don't care about deluxe components. And I wanted to make sure we corrected that. So when we launch February 11th, there will be a gameplay all-in where you can get everything gameplay-wise, all the episodes. And we've also taken the time to sort of improve the cooperative offering a little bit more. Todd and I are big into cooperative games. If you played my game, Maximum Apocalypse, or his game, Set a Watch. And we wanted to make sure that we had a variety of different cooperative games that really felt different. So let me switch back to my main camera and take over. So we have sort of the cooperative version we were putting in the base game with the Warbound ships, which we've refined and improved on over the past few months. Nothing major, but that mode is still in there. In that mode, you are going to be setting out random objectives, and the Warbound Menace is going to try to spread terror to all the planets on the map. And you are going to try to work together with your fellow players to mitigate that terror, complete enough missions, fight them, so everything doesn't devolve into chaos. And then you need to complete these objectives to win the game. And the difficulty and how hard that is sort of depends on you and your group. So if you want to play a shorter game, you know, you may only say, look, we're playing on easy, we're only going for 3 objectives, and the objectives are all double-sided now with sort of an easier and harder side, a harder threshold to hit. And there are 8 different objectives, and you only play with 5 of them. So there's a lot of different permutations of this and what exactly you'll be going for. Sometimes it's promoting people on your ship. Sometimes it's attacking certain ships and defeating them. Other times it's completing certain missions or missions in the same biome. So you'll have all these different objectives and a mix of them. And the harder you play, the more of those objectives you'll have to complete. And once every player has completed those objectives, you'll win. And if the Warbound terrorizes the galaxy before then, you lose. So that's sort of the first scenario, which we have a lot of information on our old GameFound page about. Some of the other scenarios, one of the ones we talked about was we had this Dreadnought, which is going to be in the cooperative expansion, and this Dreadnought comes through the gateway that the game is named after, and starts trying to invade your section of the galaxy. So this is a scenario we didn't have before that we've worked on. We've got these Mantis drone ships that we're adding to our offering, so little different ships. So this is a way for you to mix and match sort of the NPC ships that you're playing against cooperatively. And the Mantis drones fly out from the Dreadnought, heading towards your outposts, trying to destroy them. You've got to make sure they don't do that. If you lose too many outposts, they will win. And your goal is to kill the Dreadnought, which is sort of the mothership, as it makes its way around, and it's sort of heading towards your outposts and other areas of the map. There's a separate deck that activates these NPC players. There's a deck for each of these sort of opponents with their own sort of deck that you flip over, and it tells you how they operate. So the Dreadnought and Mantis ships act their own sort of way. And then the final scenario we're going to have is once you defeat that first Dreadnought, the final Dreadnought comes through, and they've given up on trying to invade you, and they're now just going to try to destroy you. And they're going to do that by dropping off these drills on each of the main planets, and you'll have a die. Again, this is all prototype components. This is actually printed on one of my Christmas gifts or birthday gifts. My birthday's in December. Is I got a 3D printer, so I'm able to 3D print a lot of these components now to test for our games and send to players and use. So you'll have these drills, and you'll have a countdown die that you use to count down on each planet. And if they reach 0, that planet's destroyed. And then obviously, if you lose a lot of planets, you lose. You don't want your independent worlds to be destroyed and all your governments to crumble. So those are sort of the 3 distinct cooperative modes that we have fleshed out a lot more and are going to be highlighting a lot more in the future campaign. And again, this game is heading towards Kickstarter February 11th. So if you're interested, be sure to follow the Kickstarter page or sign up for our newsletter or whatever, so you don't miss it. There will be some StarDriven Gateway is sort of the first game in a larger universe that we've been planning and working on for a long time. I mean, we do have 2 subsequent standalone games for that coming out, and we will be offering a special bundle for sort of our hardcore fans or anyone interested in sort of getting back to what crowdfunding is actually about, which is about funding future development and future games. And you can grab all 3 of those games, all 3 of the deluxe pledges of those games for a great price in the first 72 hours of the campaign. So, don't miss out on that if that's something you're interested in. Okay, let's move on to the next game. The next game that will be coming out to crowdfunding is we're going to take our Seas of Havoc pirate deck building game. If any of you out there have played it and seen it, this game came out near the end of 2023 and sold really well. But because of our distribution agreement with Asmodee at the time, it was never really available in retail. It was sort of only available to Kickstarter backers. So despite sort of all the critical acclaim it got and positive reviews, it was never sort of available at your local game store or available widely. So we're going to be doing a reprint for that game. And part of the reason we waited a little while is because we're also going to have a First Mates expansion along with that. And the First Mates expansion is going to add a lot of little things to the game. We're also going to probably have a add-on box to fix and adjust some of the little things that we're fixing on future printing. So a lot of people noted that we don't have laser engraving on the ships and the board on both sides. So that's something we're gonna do for the second printing, and then offer sort of a pack. If you want just those ships, you'll be able to order that. The First Mates expansion primarily is sort of covering a few different things. Number one, First Mates are something you select at the beginning of the game, and they start in your discard pile, I believe. And they're basically like additional captain abilities. So now you have the ability to mix and max not only your captain with the ship you're choosing, but also with your favorite First Mate. So you can sort of diversify that setup and whatever deck building mechanics you want to lean into even more with the First Mates. And it's relatively easy to add to your game too, because there's not a lot of rules that you need to learn. It's just a new ability card that you get to jumpstart your deck on that first shuffle. The other things we'll be adding is we've got some ship upgrade diversifications and some advanced rules, I think, for some of the sea monsters and things like that. So there'll be a lot of little things. It's a great little expansion if you've played the game a lot and are looking for a little something new, or if you're just like me and love the deck building mechanics so much and want to have more deck building options. The First Mates are going to give you that. And that'll be coming to GameFound in April. So you can follow along to the GameFound page if you're interested in that game. And I believe you'll save $5 if you follow it before we launch. So you'll get $5 off whatever you pledge, whether it's just a little upgrade pack, just the expansion, or whether it's the captain's bundle with the base game and everything else that you missed out on the first time. So save that. And then last but not least, the game that we're comfortable announcing now because all the artwork's in and we know we'll be able to hit it is in the fall, likely September. We'll be launching Disco Heist Laundry, which is a game set in the 1980s, sort of like your Danny Ocean putting together the perfect crew of criminals, and you're trying to rob and heist as many things as you can, collect the most money, and then launder that money into the Cayman Islands so you can retire comfortably at the end. It's a competitive game. Hold on a second. I don't have any, I have some, keep in mind, this one's still in the works, as we're especially going to be looking at, we're doing some graphic design stuff with this board here, the main board, the city tiles. We've got a graphic designer looking on punching that up a little bit. But yeah, you'll be moving around the city. You have a timeline of heists that come out. And basically on your turn, you play a card to your tableau. move your character around, and then you may tap as many cards as you have in your tableau, and that's your turn. And then at the end of the round, the police officers move, and sort of like if you ever played the video game Grand Theft Auto, there's like a heat tracker. Heat is one of the resources that you don't want. As your heat goes up, you'll gain stars, and if you're at 3 stars, you're most wanted, and the cops will actively chase you. But if you're at 0 stars, you can walk right by the cops and they won't arrest you. And then, things in between. If you're like 1 star, they'll arrest you on site, but they're not going to actively chase you. You're sort of like wanted. You're a person of interest, but they won't necessarily be chasing you. So let me see if I can find a picture of the game where this is all from PAX Unplugged. We have all these pictures that came in from people. So from someone who took pictures for us. So you'll see people you have your different colored meeples to be your goons around the city. There's some like light area control stuff going on where you can activate city tiles by having your goons or minions around that are part of your gang. And then you've got unique crew members, which are your cards that you'll play down in front of you and tap, like you see people here in front of you. And we have different resources like supplies and tools, which you need for your heists. And then your goons, you need a certain number of goons to do your heist. And then, of course, you also need your intel to get past all the traps and security measures. So we have like a little microfilm symbol for that currently. But those little things could potentially change. But the artwork and art style is definitely locked in. There I am demoing to a group. So that's Disco Heist Laundry. At least in prototype form. And I'll switch back to full screen. And that sort of covers all of our major announcements as far as the games that are coming for crowdfunding. So if you have any questions about any of those games, please let me know in the comments. I hope it's been a lot of great news for everybody who's watching and interested. The other things we sort of have coming up in the next few weeks, next couple months, is number 1, the first 2 games I talked about, StarDriven Gateway and Seas of Havoc, were both accepted into the MagFest Indie Board Game Showcase. So that's a big convention down in Washington, D.C., or outside of Washington, D.C., I should say, that we'll be attending at the end of January. So if you're in that area or you're planning on attending that convention, please come and say hi, play one of those 2 games. We'll have them out there to sort of be play tested and available to try. And then the other thing is also at MagFest will be Maximum Apocalypse, the video game, was also accepted into the Indie Video Game Showcase via MegaCat Games. So MegaCat Games will be there with a big booth demoing that game, which is currently sort of in closed alpha on Steam, but you can follow it on Steam now, and it should be going into early access and launching relatively soon. I think they're going to skip sort of the early access stage and go right to like release stage because it's content complete. They're working on Kaiju Rising content. So if you do support the video game within the first few months, we plan on releasing Kaiju Rising content, so new monsters and 2 new characters from sort of that board game expansion. That was our first expansion for the board game, and it'll be the first expansion for the video game as well. And then from there, if the game does well enough, hopefully we'll continue to add content to catch the video game up with everything we've offered in sort of the board game series. While I'm talking about video games, another announcement that I can make that wasn't in the newsletter, but it's something we've chatted about on our Discord channel. So if you want to see a screenshot of this, we also have a Set a Watch video game in the works, which will be coming straight to iPhone, iOS, and Steam sometime later this year. Do not have timing on that. Video games are fickle in their timing, but it is in a fully playable alpha state So, here, actually, since we're doing it, I'll bring up a little, since we are on video, I can bring up, let me brighten my, I have it on test flight in my phone, so I can show off a little bit of it. So hopefully everyone can see it. I've got the lights giving me a little glare, so I have to hold it a little higher. Maybe I should hold it back. But anyway, we've got Set a Watch on iPhone here. I'll continue wherever I left off. I'm not sure. What's the best way to do this? Actually, let me pop this light off. Maybe we can get the glare off and use my phone. Yeah, so here's Set a Watch in digital form. It's going to be coming to iPhone and Steam first, but it was developed in Unity, or it's being developed in Unity, so it can always come to more platforms. And one of the cool things we did for this is we have this 3D environment. I'm going to have to use the camera here. So you can click around and you can see everything's in 3D. So you can go to like your combat area. You can go to where you do your sealing and your camp. I'm trying to hit the graveyard. There's your graveyard that you can look through. So they've been doing a great job with this. Still finding little bugs now. The bugs we're finding are more about effects, weird interactions between abilities and cards and creatures than about like major bugs. But you can play that game start to finish in alpha currently on iPhone. So again, if you haven't subscribed to our newsletter, please do so you won't miss out on that. When it comes to we're gonna start with just releasing it to the App Store and Steam. So sign up for the newsletter. You'll get a notice when it's available on those platforms, and you can just click and buy it and try it immediately, and hopefully enjoy it. And then later in the year, maybe we'll do like a reprint and some expansion stuff for the digital game too. We're working on some realm packs for Doomed Run and things like that. Maybe we can do a combination of stuff together. So that is basically, we're at like 25 minutes, and I think I've gotten through almost everything I needed to talk about as far as what's on the horizon for Rock Manor Games in 2025. While I wait for any comments or questions, I'm going to talk a little bit about, I hope everyone had a great holiday season. I always love to hear what people are playing and enjoying when it comes to games, both board games, both analog and digital. For me, I actually only got one board game for Christmas this year. And it was the game Fromage, which is like this simultaneous action worker placement game, which I've only played once over the New Year's holiday, but I really enjoyed it. I really like the speed of it. And I think the Lazy Susan spinning around is neat. And how the cheese points at you, and that's when you take your workers back. So there's a lot of little clever things about it. I think it's done by the same people who did this game Canvas, which was like making paintings with clear cards, which I like too, but it was more of a casual game. And this game's a little, still very gateway, but and easy to pick up and play, but a little more to sink your teeth into than Canvas, I think. So that's the only board game, that's the only new to me board game that I sort of played over the holidays. On the video game front, I beat the new Indiana Jones game on Xbox and really enjoyed it. And then I've been pretty consumed with Marvel Rivals, which has reignited my love for Overwatch when Overwatch used to be 6v6 and like first came out and was a little imbalanced and broken. So those are the games I've been playing. And let me switch over to my other screen here and see if we have any. I don't see any questions. Part of me was a little nervous about this. I felt like I was going to hop in here and have a bunch of people yelling at us for canceling a crowdfunding campaign. But that hasn't been the case, which is nice. It's good to start fresh, and I'm excited for 2025. We'll hold, and yeah, I'm wondering if there's anything else I can like show off to you guys here on my computer before I sign off. I always know these are going to be like a half an hour to an hour. I always give myself an hour, but depending on what comes up, they can be shorter. Yeah, I don't know. Someone just posted, we're just happy it's coming back. Yeah, it was always going to come back. And I think the way it's going to come back is going to be a lot better. I just think that the messaging is a lot clearer. And I think we've learned a lot and use the extra time wisely from a development and design standpoint. Because when you work on a game that long, I mean, we were working on this game for several years, and it's silly to follow through with something when you have mistakes you've known when you've made some big mistakes and you know you can fix them. It just makes sense to take a couple extra months, even if you're leaving money on the table or giving money back. It makes sense, at least in my opinion, to get things right and take the time to make the best game you can. So hopefully that's what we've done, and hopefully everyone will check that out in a month. But I think that's it for now. Just talking about, I think last year I sort of had this goal of doing a stream once a month, and for the most part we met those goals. But I'm actually thinking about ratcheting that back and trying to shoot for quarterly streams where we can have sort of more to talk about, because it's a lot more fun, in my opinion, to talk about all the games we've been playing, all the progress we've made on everything, rather than trying to throw together a stream every month or just play through a game we've already released, live, which we did a couple times as well. So we'll see, but I'm definitely going to be refocusing more time on making bigger and badder, badder in a good way, bigger and better quarterly streams in the future, where there's just sort of a lot of announcements that we can announce in a row. Because we'll have retail releases and all that kind of stuff. So last chance for any questions, but otherwise, I think now's a good time to sign off and let everyone have a great afternoon. Keep it short and simple for anybody who missed it and wants to rewatch it on the on demand on YouTube. But for everyone who tuned in live, thank you for watching. Hopefully you found this information useful, and there were at least a game or two you were excited about in there that you're looking forward to. If there's anything you want more information on, let us know in Discord or in the comments afterwards, and we'll answer you in a relatively timely fashion, asynchronously as well. Everything doesn't need to be live. So with that, I'm going to say goodbye for this particular stream, and we will see you next time. Hopefully we'll see you at MagFest or the Gamma Trade Expo or PAX Unplugged next year. If you're ever at any of these conventions and sort of a diehard fan, please introduce yourself and say hello to me. It's hard to remember people's names, but I do remember faces quite well. So there's always people who come and say hi at conventions, and I at least remember the game we played or the thing we did, even though I'm terrible with names. So until I see you next time, that's it for today's stream. And yeah, we'll stay tuned for more exciting board games and gaming news from Rock Manor Games. That's it for now. Bye.